Productions.
Winnie the Pooh. Written by Lahork.
I stepped out of my car and I waved goodbye to my mom. She waved back and then she drove off. I released a sigh and I turned around to face the other kids at the stop. They were jittering and chattering as usual, and when they saw me, they smiled and waved. I waved and smiled back. But suddenly, they were not smiling anymore. A mixed expression of worry and fright was settled on each of their faces. They were all looking past me, at something behind me. I turned around to see what they were looking at, but although I already knew, he was back, standing directly across the street. Stock still, ratty red t-shirt stopping just underneath his chest, exposing a bulbous yellow stomach. There was fur missing in some places, and it appeared to be soaking wet, but it was not dripping. He was extremely dirty, and his beady eyes were incredibly dark. He stared back at us, silent. His large paw was wrapping around the stop sign. He looked like a little kid, like us, waiting for the school bus. If it weren't for his size, and the fact that he did not have a drawn-on smile, we would have not found his presence so unsettling. It would have been really comforting for us 10-year-olds that an adult-sized version of our favorite cartoon character was watching over us, like our very own guardian angel. But he was no angel. There was something off about him, and he wasn't friendly. He only stared. Every time no adults are around, he shows up, slowly walking towards the stop sign, one huge paw in front of the other. The movements were natural. It did not seem practiced. The notion is the reason why every time the bus arrives, we all shuffle onto the bus, breaking out into an elaborate debate about whether or not it was a man in a costume or the actual Winnie the Pooh brought to life. Well, that's what I called him, Winnie the Pooh. We had our debates every day. Each day they got more lively, until that one day when everything went wrong. We just got onto the bus, peering out the window just in time to see Winnie disappearing around the corner. We were all shocked down to our core. Recently, Winnie has been leaving the bus stop increasingly late. Usually he leaves 2 minutes before the bus stop arrives, but now he stays and watches us get onto the bus before leaving. It freaks us out. We believe he's becoming more comfortable with being seen by adults, and one day he'll feel comfortable enough to approach us. This made us break out into a new debate about whether or not we should tell our parents, or if some of us should approach him ourselves. You know, we should just do it. We need to stop acting like babies, man, or man and woman up, and just see what he wants. Evan said, "Oh, come on, man, that's stupid. That's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard." "Yeah, that's right. You're one of the white kids that gets killed at the beginning of every horror movie," Penelope said. "Whatever, you're stupid. And you're white too, so shut your face. Plus, no one even asked you," Evan retorted. "Well, I'm black and I agree with Evan. So eat it, Penelope," Jason shouted. He and Evan exchanged an elaborate handshake. They had been best friends since birth, so naturally they agreed with each other. "Jason, what does eat it even mean? Like, what are you telling me to eat?" Penelope asked. "I don't know. I heard my brother say it, so eat it, Penelope," Jason laughed, while he and Evan shared another elaborate handshake, a different one this time. "Why don't we just vote on it?" I offered. I was tired of hearing them argue. They argue every day. Yeah, Alex is right. Let's vote like proper adults would do." Penelope smiled at me. Well, I just rolled my eyes. "Well, since Alex suggested it, Then she has to tally up the votes. We're gonna write what we want to do on papers, and then hand them to her, Evan said. Or, I glared at Evan, we can get this over quickly by raising our hands when I say the two options. Everyone murmured in agreement. Okay, great. So, I clapped my hands to get them to settle down. Okay, so who votes for us telling our parents? 5 out of 8 of us raised our hands, including Penelope and I. Alright, no need to announce the other option, because majority rules. We'll tell our parents. Tonight, I smiled at everyone, happy to finally gotten this over with. No, I don't want to do that. I want to approach the thing. Evan spoke. Actually, Evan, it may be better for us to tell our parents. Just in case. Winnie is pretty creepy, Jason said. Whatever, fine, Evan said. He made a face at Jason and then turned to stare out of the window, effectively letting us know that the conversation was over. And we finally got to school and the day went on as usual. For some reason, I kept thinking that everything was not fine. No, the next morning, everyone arrived at the bus stop, me, of course, arriving last. There was something wrong, because Winnie was already there. Mom, look over there! Do you see him? I pointed at Winnie. Slowly but surely, his head turned until he was looking in my direction. He was staring at me through the back window. See what, honey? My mom turned to look and frowned. Sweetheart, I already told you, I don't have to stop at the stop sign unless it's on my side. What? Well, first of all, I already know that. I'm not stupid. Second of all, don't you see what's next to the sign? I pointed again, more forcefully this time, as if I could point her into seeing what I see. There's nothing there. Are you feeling all right? She placed her hand on my forehead, concerned. I shook it off, really upset. Mom, the bear I told you about last night is standing right there next to the stop sign. I yelled, exasperated. My mom just chuckled. Yes, you and your bear. All right, sweetie, I love you, but I've got to go to work. She shooed me out of the car, still chuckling. Don't forget to tell the bear I said hi. I closed the door and she sped off. Confused, I slowly walked to my friends. They were staring at Winnie again. Evan was a little bit away from us, staring hard at it. Hey guys, when you told your parents about Winnie, did they believe you? I asked them. Everyone shook their heads no. I nodded and sat down on the sidewalk. It was silent for a few moments. Us staring at Winnie, him staring back at us. Suddenly, Evan looked at us and smirked. Then he started crossing the street. I'm doing it. Your plan didn't work, which means my plan will. If you want to come with me, then do it. If not, then eat a brick. Evan stopped 12 steps away from Winnie, directly in the middle of the street. Come on, Jason. We all turned and looked at Jason, and he looked back at us. Then at Winnie. No, man, I'm not doing it. This is crazy, dude. Stranger danger. Man, no. Jason backed away, and then broke out into an all-out sprint in the direction of his house. He lived pretty far away, but he was very fast. We all should have left with him, but we stayed out. Curiosity was getting the best of us. He wanted to see how Winnie would react. Evan hesitated, but then he shrugged and crossed the street entirely. When he reached Winnie, he stood about 2 steps away from him, very close. We saw his mouth move, but we could not hear the question he asked. Winnie didn't acknowledge his presence. He just kept staring at us. We could see Evan becoming increasingly annoyed, but Winnie still ignored him. Then we heard it. It was a gargle, and judging from our distance, we should have not been able to hear it. We looked at Evan, and we noticed him fidgeting, like he was about to barf. He was struggling to keep his mouth closed, but it was obvious he was failing. When his mouth opened, blood and something long and pink hit the ground. Evan's eyes were bugging out as his body was slightly hunched over. Winnie was still staring at us as he slowly lowered himself to the long pink thing. His large paw wrapped around the pink thing twice, stretching it out a bit more. Evan gurgled and choked, causing more blood to gush out. Winnie stood up again and showed us the pink thing, which we could now see was Evan's tongue. Using Evan's tongue as some sort of leash, Winnie started walking away, with Evan slowly shuffling behind him, leaving a trail of blood. Soon, they were gone. We were all standing still, in shock. We could not believe what we just saw with our eyes. We couldn't cry. We couldn't speak. We couldn't do anything. When the bus pulled up in front of us, we just got on. The bus driver asked us about Jason, but we just shook our heads. We didn't even notice that he didn't even ask about Evan. I numbly walked over to my seat, feeling empty inside. I just watched my friend get taken and presumably murdered by something, and yet I couldn't even react or do anything to show or feel pain. I sat down in my seat and looked out the window. The tears came pouring down when I looked at the spotless sidewalk